for today's interview is Alison Waters. Thank you for taking the time, Alison. It's really I really appreciate it. So what Alison and I are going to do now is we're going to go down to court and we're going to hit some balls. In fact, if you've been really watching carefully, you can see my sweating. And we've done it already. But we'll dub in a few routines and then we'll be back here for a chat. See you in a second. Okay, so Alison, here we are. We're hitting. And the first thing to notice is that we hit it back to each other pretty much straight away. I noticed that a lot of the players nowadays, they keep hitting it back to themselves quite a lot. Don't you find that annoying?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time we did drop drives, a good one, I think. I do that quite a bit to, groove my skills and look for my target straight away, really.
Okay.
I have a certain area on the court where I'm aiming for.
And you use targets for those, yeah?
Yeah, I put some targets down and normally, I have my length target and I'm looking for a dying length, really. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And the kind of target that you use, is it the kind of target that once you hit it, the rally or the hitting stops, or can you carry on?
We sometimes do where we hit 3 targets and swap, so that's quite a good one. And obviously, don't want to be there for half an hour because you're feeling the pressure of your partner. But and we'll probably do some with the condition games where if you hit a target, you might get 2 points. So
okay.
The reward for hitting the target.
All right. And do you have like a set routine that you go through? So drop drive first of all, and then boast drive, and then is that what you do?
Yeah, I mean we normally start with drop drive, and then we'll do boast drive with targets, and maybe add a volley in from the back,
okay.
and probably do drop drive and stuff. So
okay.
all into the targets.
But it's the same kind of routine every session?
No, not every session. No, I tend to mix it up. But if I'm doing a target specific session,
okay.
I have just done one then. I will start with that, yeah.
All right, okay. And this part, you can see us, we're cross-court lob, volley straight, and then boast.
Yeah.
You do that a lot?
I do that quite a bit. I mean, it's important to... I mean, the lob is the shot you practice in there. It's really important to get the height on that shot. And I think that's a good routine, especially for any court. Like we play on glass courts, and to get that lob is a really important shot, really.
Yeah, I mean, the glass courts are normally higher than the courts that you practice on. So does that make it easier or harder to time the
yeah,
the
I mean,
right?
every glass court's different, but I really enjoy that exercise because if you lob it, no one can really hit a winner from a lob position, really.
Okay.
Especially onto the backhand, high deep. Most people will just chip that down the wall. So
yeah.
When you get a good lob there, that's basically the tactic there.
All right, great. And we're back.
That was quick.
That was quick. All right, okay, so I've got my list of questions and I'm kind of not going to let you see. So let's start at the beginning. At what point do you think that you wanted to become a pro player?
I mean, I'd always played all the junior tournaments and I loved doing that. I played every weekend, did all the tournaments, and I don't know, it was something that I always really enjoyed and loved playing, and I knew that after I finished my A-levels at school that I would give it a go, and because I was always kind of 1 and 2 in the age group, so I knew that I could do it right. So
after your A-levels?
After my A-levels went full time.
So
yeah.
Listen, kids, finish your A-levels first.
Finish your A-levels.
And did you think about going to university, or it was like, no, I'm going to give it my all?
No, I never thought about going to uni. I mean, I always thought if I wanted to go to uni, I could do that after I'd stopped playing squash.
True.
I think the first few years when you are full time, it does take a few years to get used to the lifestyle and the way of life, really. So I knew that if I went to uni, that you kind of miss those first 4 years, which is pretty important. And I always wanted to. I never thought about going to uni.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so imagine you've got like a minute. What would be the highlights of your career?
Definitely represented England, Commonwealth Games, played in Melbourne, Delhi, so I played the last 2. I mean, that's just one of the best experiences.
Okay.
I love playing in team events, world teams, Europeans, individually probably getting to the semis of the World Open. I mean, the highlight for me, I had an injury a couple of years ago, and probably one of the most satisfying things was coming back from that injury. I had a year out, so my ranking dropped, so I got it back up to 4 now, and that was probably one of my most kind of satisfying.
All right, so
things, really.
What injury was it?
I had an Achilles injury.
Okay.
So I had an operation, and I was out. I didn't play for probably 12 months, 18 months.
How did you keep motivated?
I mean, that was hard because I had never been injured before. I still train. I did a load of gym and rehab exercises, and I don't know. I think I was quite positive about it, and that was the key really.
I mean, I presume you couldn't hit the ball.
No, I wasn't really hitting. No. Right. So it was obviously hard, especially when you then watch the tournaments that are happening on.
Must have been so
and I'm
frustrating.
at home on the sofa watching on live on streaming.
I could be here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, so that was my most testing time, but
Right.
I mean, probably to get out of that and be back to where I was.
Higher than where you were.
Yeah, I mean, I was 3, but I'm 4 now, so
okay.
I've still got a couple more
a little
to go.
bit. That's
Yeah.
a bit later in the question. All right. So, would you consider that you've got like a main rival? Is there anybody out there that you say you're mine? I'm going to take you.
I mean, it's pretty tight in the women's game at the minute. I mean, Nicole David, she's been number 1 for 6-7 years now, which is unbelievable. But I feel like now that the girls are getting closer, and I feel like I'm getting closer. I beat her last year for the first time, which was a big thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel that now I can go on court with her, and I believe that I can win. Whereas before, I probably didn't believe it.
You hoped you could.
Yeah, there's a difference between that, isn't there? Hoping and really believing.
Absolutely.
So now I do, and yeah, I mean, obviously I'd like to get to that spot, and there's a couple of people along the way that I need to beat first.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they want that spot as well.
And everyone's fighting that spot, so yeah, it's good.
All right. Any memorable matches that you can think of? I mean, obviously playing Nicole and then beating her, but any others that like stick in your mind?
Yeah, I mean that was probably one of my biggest memories. Obviously.
But did you play better than you've ever played, or was it just one of those times?
I did play well. It was one of those matches where everything kind of went together. Yeah, and I got more confident, and she kind of got a bit down on herself, and you could just feel. I could feel a bit of momentum.
The tide had turned. And you got that on video?
I think it was on. I played in America. I think they had it on their local streaming, but I never actually got a copy of that.
Oh, you got to get that. You got to watch it again.
I know.
Like that rocket did there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's talk more. Not for long, but a little bit more about Nicole. What's the difference between her and you, and maybe a player just outside the top 20? What do you think that difference is?
I mean, she's always been known. Well, she is known for. She's incredibly fast. She retrieves everything.
Okay.
You hit a winner, or you think is a winner, and she'll get it back. And you hit another one, she'll get it back. So she.
Annoying.
Yeah, I mean, her retrieval skills are the best around, and physically she's really good and fast, and that's always been quite a big difference. And I think because she's been used to she's been one of them for 6-7 years now. She's got that winning mentality. Like, people have gone on court with her and probably lost before they've gone on.
Absolutely. But would you say that? I mean, I'm not so much interested in her, but her, the number 1 player. I mean, I used her because she is.
Yeah.
But I mean, how far away do you think you are from the number 1 spot?
I mean, I believe now that I can
do it.
Yeah, and I did probably a few years ago, 3-4 years ago. I didn't believe I could probably beat her, but now, as I have done, I now believe.
What about technically or tactically or fitness-wise? I mean, when you see in the men's game or even the women's game, they're as fast as each other. They hit the ball as well as each other. They make great choices, but there's a difference because they're consistently 2 or 3 in the world. And somebody outside the top 10, you see them play and you think, wow, that's a great player.
Yeah.
But they lose every time to the top 4.
Yeah.
So what's that difference?
I mean, Nicole is really, really consistent. I mean, you probably outside the top 10, they might play well for one match, as you say, against her, but then the next match they might not. A lot of it comes down to belief and.
So you think that that's the difference between the top players and the lower players? Consistency.
Consistency and actually believing that they can
do it.
Can win. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So on average, during the off season, how much time would you spend on court and then off court in sort of terms of per day training?
Yeah, I mean off season. I'm in my off season now. We've had no tournaments since May, so we've had quite a long summer of time to get back into it. It'll be 3 months of training. And actually, I probably spend quite a bit of time on court in my off season. I'm not a runner. I do weights in the gym 3 times a week, but other than that, I prefer to do all my training on court.
Okay, ghosting as well and stuff.
Yeah, and I find that's where I really benefit from.
Okay.
So even though people say off season you're not training, I actually am on court a lot.
A lot. More than the other players, you think?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, this summer I have been on a lot because I've been trying to practice a few things and work on a few more shots. And I'm not one to go into the gym and do a bike session because one, I don't enjoy that, and two, I don't find it that specific. I'd rather probably go on court and do a more fitness-based session.
Right, okay. So, I mean, my next question here is, what do you need to do to become the world number one?
Interesting. I need to, in my earlier matches in tournaments, I probably need to get players off faster. Last season I had a couple of too many 5-setters, and I'm going into semis, finals, and I'm not as fresh as I need to be really, especially when you're going to play Nicole.
Fresh as they are.
Yeah, whereas Nicole is good at, she gets them off 3-0, 3-0, maybe 3-1 occasionally, and she's fresh when she's in the final. And to play Nicole, you can't go in having 3, 4, 5-setters. You're not gonna win.
Okay. So what mental change will you make there you'll just be more ruthless?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a lot of the mental side. I think now I realise that where I am now, it is the fine margin between where I am and getting number one. It is believing in yourself. It is getting players off
quickly.
And being ruthless and not losing that concentration. Keeping whoever you play, making sure that you're playing how you would.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And not getting too love up and then sort of like 6-all and thinking, it's not important. It doesn't matter if I lose this game.
But really, that's what I'm trying to do. Finish it.
All right, okay. You've kind of answered my next question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. If I gave you a choice of 6 weeks of purely fitness work or 6 weeks of skill, technique, and tactical work, which would you choose?
Well, my fitness has always been quite good, so I'd definitely go down the tactical.
Yeah, I'm kind of asking these questions because I'm not saying fitness is not important in squash, because clearly it's important, but so many people spend so much time getting fit and they neglect hitting the ball and thinking about tactics, and I just kind of want to...
Yeah, I mean, I have been guilty of that because I've always been brought up in, you've got to be fit, and that's why I know I am fit, so I probably have, not paid as much attention to that side, but now I am.
Okay. All right, okay. Now, if I gave you a racket that had exactly the same weight and the same balance as the one you play with, and you were kind of blindfolded, do you think you'd notice the difference when you were hitting?
The same weight and the same balance.
Maybe it was you played with a standard head,
yeah.
But maybe it was a teardrop, for example.
I think I would. I think I would. I'd like to think I would.
Okay.
I would. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So when you get to travel all of these tournaments, do you ever get to do any tourism?
Not really. I mean, you kind of, like, for instance, we're going to Malaysia in 2 weeks, and I'll make sure I have 3 full days before I play, and in that time you're literally practicing, getting over the time difference, which is 8 hours, getting over the flight, which is a good 12 hours.
Yeah.
So you haven't really got time to go, and you don't actually really want to be going walking around looking at...
No. What about after the tournament finishes, though?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what we've got coming up. If there's something leading straight on, then either you come home or go to the next one. And it depends where you are as well. If you're in America, New York, you probably would go around the shops and stuff, but...
it's interesting that when I said tourism, you think shopping.
Shopping, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's probably what I do.
Alright, okay. So what's the best thing about being a pro squash player?
I mean, I love the lifestyle, the travelling and seeing different sites and different places, different cultures, and doing something that I love. That's the biggest thing.
Alright.
I mean, I'm lucky that I wake up and I can train, and we are pretty flexible. It's not... Like my training is varied, and I'm in different places and can kind of do
whatever you want.
What I want really.
Timing-wise.
And I love it. So that's my biggest thing. Yeah.
And the worst?
The worst is it's hard when you've had a tough week and then the next day you've got to get up and do the same again, and you've got to be motivated to the highest level really, because a lot of the time you might train by yourself. Like I do quite a bit by myself, and so you've got to be motivated.
To do it.
Yeah.
You've got nobody on your back, really.
No, it's down to you. I mean, I could easily stay at home all day, but do whatever I want, but that's not going to make me number one, is it?
No, it's not. So if you could replay one match, which match would it be? I'm presuming it's a match you lost, but maybe not.
Yeah, replay one match.
Any one match?
I feel like I should know one. I'm just trying to think of one.
Were there any that were like really close that you thought, God, if I'd have got into that semi, that would have made a difference? Or
let me think. I played Nicole in Amsterdam in the Worlds. That was about 4 years ago, in the semis. I lost 3-1, but it was one of them. I think the fourth was 15-13. Yeah, it was close.
So that would have put you 2-1 up.
It would have. I think I would have gone 2-1. There was something really close about it. And actually, I played in Australia, and I lost 15-13 in the fourth. And it's just those matches where you are on the edge and you could then potentially reach a final or a semi, and it's just a few points in it.
But it comes back to what you were talking about earlier, consistency.
That's the thing.
Just those few points. All right. So how much post-match analysis would you do? So let's just say that we're travelling, for example, and we're on tour, and you play a game. And would you then get the video of the match, either whether you won or lost, it's not so important, and sit down and say, okay, what happened in that match? How much of that would you do?
I mean, a lot of the times I don't really video my matches, which I probably should do. The big one, the major tournaments, we have streaming, and that's on PSA Squash Live. And I will then, after the tournament, probably come home and watch that. I will watch that.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's mainly if the coach is there, you will speak to them about the match, especially if you've lost.
Okay.
And then it's difficult because you don't want to dwell on it too much because you might have a tournament next week. So I'm one to kind of almost not put it to bed straight away because you obviously it's not fun losing, but you can't dwell too much when you're in the season, really.
Yeah, I'm just thinking more from a tactical point of view, not so much about oh God I lost and but just to watch the matches and say okay, this area this day I was weak. I need to focus on that next week.
Yeah, I mean I will do that after.
But it's after the tournaments, not so much during them.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you don't really have access to the videos, so it would be probably more after. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you get to travel with the? I mean, who's coaching you at the moment?
Well, Paul Carter, Chris Robertson, he's our
national coach.
So I've been doing quite a lot of work with him.
Okay.
And I've been with Paul since I was 12. So.
Exactly.
But they only travel to like the major ones, like the World Open, British Open. So a lot of the time it is probably ourselves.
Just your friends on the tour, helping each other.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Onto the corner now. All right. So, any advice that you'd give for like new players? I mean, when I say new players, I mean new players.
New total beginners.
Joe Bloggs is just thinking of starting playing squash, and he watches this video.
Yeah.
He thinks, okay, what can Alison tell me?
You got to enjoy it. That's the biggest thing. I mean, enjoy the game. Practice. I mean, even if you can just find half an hour in between work or anything, just literally get on court and hit some balls.
Hit some balls.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, just practice.
Not just play. I mean, that's the key.
No,
that's one of the big differences between pro players and amateurs. Amateurs just play.
You need to practice. Even just stand on and just hit the ball to yourself, half an hour, drives, drops, anything.
And how often do you do that?
I do quite a bit of solo. Well, I have been doing more. I try and get at least a couple in 2-3 a week.
Okay.
I think it's a really important part of, especially when you're trying to learn or practice a shot or techniques, like slight change in technique.
Yeah.
And that's where you really can groove your shots almost. Obviously, you've got to then do it under pressure, but that's the starting point.
All right. What kind of advice would you give to younger players who have like been playing for a little while, but they really want to maybe take it to the next step?
Again, practice, work hard. I mean, it's obviously. It's a physical game, and I know we talk about fitness, and you've got to be strong and fit to play. I mean, even if you have all the skills, it works both ways. Obviously, you need to be fit, you need to have the skills, but if you don't have the skills and haven't got the fitness, so you need everything. And I mean, it is a tough game physically. It's hard, so you have to work hard and put the time in.
Put the time in.
Yeah.
All right. So the next topic's a little bit sad, which is CRY, which is the cardiac arrest for young players or youngsters.
Cardiac risk in the young.
In the young.
Yes.
Okay. So it was Harry. Who's very sad in February.
Yeah.
Tell me about your involvement with that.
Well, I wanted to do something just in aid of his death, really. And I approached CRY and I emailed them and said, is there anything I could do? And they came back and said, oh, we'd love you to be a patron of CRY. And I was like, oh, brilliant, that's great.
That's good.
So I've done something with them before. I've been to like a school and I actually played some hockey and just like in an aid of cry. And we've got something actually for Harry in September.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought it was important to kind of help, and I mean they're an amazing organisation, and young people get tested for free.
Okay.
And hopefully the more people that become aware of this and getting tested, then it will stop tragedies like that happening. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to maybe a lighter topic now. The Olympics. 2 weeks. Are you so nervous? All right. So you've been involved in any promotion work?
I mean, Nicole's been the leading force behind it. Her and Rami have been the
figureheads, as it were.
The figureheads. I mean, and the rest of the players, we kind of put it on Facebook, tweet it if you're on Twitter. I'm not, but a lot of players have just been and just speaking to anyone you can really, and just trying to get the word out there that we need to get in. And
can you imagine playing 2020?
I know. God, it would be amazing.
I'm praying that we get chosen, of course, but I'm also praying that Madrid gets chosen because I live in Spain now. So I'm kind of hoping that it comes to my. I don't live in Madrid, but at least it comes to my country.
No, it'd be amazing. I mean, squash. It deserves to be in. I think everyone that plays it knows that, and it would be awful if we didn't get in. But and I know we've had a really good campaign this time.
We have.
It's
Back the Beard has been fantastic.
It's been amazing, yeah. So if we deserve it. We definitely deserve it.
We do. We do. Are you listening, IOC?
We deserve it.
And okay, the last question: the future of squash. What do you think is going to happen in 20 years' time to squash?
We'll be in the Olympics for a start. We'll be as rich as tennis players.
Oh, that's the dream, I think.
Yeah,
that's the dream.
It's the dream or the reality.
What about any changes? Do you think that, I mean, we've gone from, up to 9 and then down to up to 15, Quadra Rally, and then down to 11. And then the boys have gone from 19 to 17 and all of this. Do you think there'll be any other changes?
I don't know. I think the scoring it works really well. Now the women are playing that as well, which has been great for the game. I don't know. Maybe eventually they'll probably make the tin the same height. It would probably make sense.
Okay.
I mean, we've come on heaps and bounds in terms of the glass court. I think it looks fantastic now. I don't know if you saw the World Series in January on television. That was live on Sky.
Okay.
That was the best it's ever been. It's ever looked. So I think it's if we can keep improving in terms of in the whole area. It's just getting. We need to get the media involved, and that's the biggest thing. But if we got into the Olympics, that would be the start of it.
That would
really.
be the start, wouldn't it? Now imagine that I'm back here in 1 year's time, and you were going to tell me the good news that's happened to you in squash. What would you be telling me in 1 year's time?
Well, we're in the Olympics.
but for you specifically.
For me specifically. So what are we now? August. Hopefully I've just won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games.
Okay.
Because we've got that next July.
Okay. Where are they?
In Glasgow.
Glasgow.
So hopefully I'm playing individuals, and then we've got doubles events as well.
Okay. Is that mixed doubles?
Mixed and women's.
Oh, mixed and women's. Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be here.
You'll be 3 golds.
3 gold medals, that'd be nice. Ranking wise, I'd like to be... Nicole's got quite a bit of a gap in terms of her ranking.
Yeah, her points almost double, I think, from number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Laura's actually caught up quite a bit, so if I can I'd like to get the number 2 spot, obviously, and then...
Steps down from there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be back here talking in a year, and we'll be checking those things off.
Yeah, that's the idea.
So thanks very much for your time, and keep working hard.